I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, let's talk about an article on Zero Hedge with Salvini taking on Richard Gere. I guess we could call it Salvini versus Gere here. You know, the Italian, he's the de facto prime minister, right? I mean, you could call it that.
You could call him that, yes. I mean, he's not prime minister as such, but he is the effective leader.
He's the effective, taking on Hollywood elite. Alexander, let me pull up the article. It was from actually Bloomberg, but Zero Hedge cites it. So let me pull up the Bloomberg article. Let me share it, and we could just discuss it. See see your opinion on this. So let me pull it up here and share it. Our viewers will also see it as well. And all right, so here we go, Alexander. We have Salvini erupts at Richard Gere. Why don't you take Italy's migrants to Hollywood on your jet? What are your first thoughts, Alexander, when reading this headline?
Well, Salvini has established himself over the last couple of years as the dominant political force in Italy. And the reason he is the dominant political force in Italy is because he makes comments like this. This is exactly populism, if you like, at its most populist. It shows a tremendous understanding of the feelings of Italian people. And of course, it sets the Italian people, and of course, by extension, Salvini himself, against the neoliberal globalist elite, in this instance, Richard Gere. And what is he saying? Richard Gere has come to the Italian island of Lampedusa, where there are lots of refugees, migrants, call them what you will. And he does the usual virtue signaling that he's beloved of these people. And he also does the other thing, which is also beloved of these people, which is he criticizes the governments of various countries. In this case, it's Italy, but it could just as easily be Hungary or Poland or any of the others, calling them populist, xenophobic, whatever. So what does Salvini do? He shoots back and points out, well, Richard Gere is an immensely rich man, rich beyond the imagination of the vast majority of humanity, and rich beyond the imagination of the vast majority of Italians. And he's basically saying, in an extremely cheeky way, that if Richard Gere wants to solve all these problems, he certainly has the means to do so. And of course, he's doing this in a mischievous way by saying Richard Gere could take all these people to the United States on his private jet and house them in his villas. Now, we know Richard Gere is never going to do anything like that. Richard Gere has no intention.
I would be shocked if he even took one.
If he even took one. So Richard Gere is making a gesture. He's engaging in virtue signaling, tokenism, which doesn't actually mean anything and doesn't cost him anything. But as Salvini points out, this migrant refugee crisis is costing the Italian people, none of them, as I said, come anywhere remotely close to being able to imagine the kind of lifestyle that Richard Gere lives. It's costing them an awful lot. And that's what Salvini is saying. And that's why it's quite likely, if there's going to be an election in Italy anytime soon, which there could very well be, he is now looking likely to win that election by a landslide.
All right, let's take a look at Richard Gere's quote here, Salvini's quote. And this is from the Zero Hedge article. Salvini said, as the generous millionaire airs his demands about the fate of the open arms immigrants, we thank him. He will be able to bring everyone in his private jet to Hollywood and keep them in his villas, said Salvini in response to Gere's appearance. Surely he is impressed by the decisions that have been taken to bolster police and counter smugglers and criminals. Italy had been waiting for those measures for years, he added.
Well, this is it.
People have been dying to hear a leader, talk down to these Hollywood, snobs and these Hollywood elites like this.
Well, that's
He's going to win some major bonus points,
Well,
right?
he is going to win. He's going to win a lot of support amongst his own people in Italy and indeed elsewhere. As I said, it shows an understanding of the concerns that people have. I mean, they have to deal with the problems of crime and violence that is to a great extent generated by these migrant flows. Richard Gere doesn't. Richard Gere comes along, as I say, he virtue signals, he makes himself appear this holy figure, but in reality it costs him nothing, even though, as Salvini says, if he really cares about this subject so much, he is very much in a position to make a difference, which of course he won't. So what Salvini has done is he set himself as the champion of the people, what the Italians often call the little people, against the elite, the plutocratic, massively rich elite. He's told the little people, as I said, that's the Italian phrase, that he's on their side against the elite. And he's also exposed, in the person of Richard Gere, the elite's hypocrisy on these sort of subjects, because they virtue signal at other people's expense, the expense being borne by, again, as I said, the Italian people whom Salvini is fighting for. It's brilliant politics. I mean, Salvini may not be everybody's favorite person, but I can see why he's going to win. Because, as you rightly said, he's able to talk forthrightly in this way. Who else in Europe, what other leader in Europe at present does?
Yeah, very good point. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran, thank you very much. Got any mugs?
Well, actually,
I've got right here.
Well done, Alex. Because I was going to say, I'm afraid again, I've been using them rather a lot, and they're all.
But you're wearing your Duran shirts.
But I always wear my Duran shirts. My Duran shirts, I couldn't be without. I wear them all the time. I've just been walking my dogs, by the way, in the park. It's been awful weather here in England. I mean, it's wet, cold, misty, and foggy. We've had an absolutely dreadful summer. So where would I be without my marvelous long-sleeved Duran t-shirt? It keeps me warm in muggy, wet weather, cold weather like this. When I say cold, it's 18 degrees. And of course, it keeps me warm in this kind of weather. It keeps me cool when it gets hotter, because it's also been very, very changeable. And I look smart also. So it's the perfect shirt for this kind of thing. But, you know, don't be under any illusions, Alex. I still have my mugs. I still drink from them. I've been drinking my coffee and my tea. Coffee to begin with early this morning. But as for the tea, I've been drinking more of the monkey pick tea, because it's good for this kind of cold weather. Not too cold, but sort of damp and miserable. And monkey pick tea, I would remind people, is an oolong tea from the mainland of China, which reputedly is picked by monkeys because it's high up on a cliff where people can't reach. And which mug have I been using? Well, I've been using several mugs, but the one I've been using, it could have been that one. Actually, it was the one with our own Duran emblem, which you can actually see here on my T-shirt. It's this beautiful double-headed eagle. The one you've got on your shirt, on your mug, is the double-headed eagle of the modern Russian Federation. It appears on all the porcelain and tableware that you have in the Kremlin. And as I said, famously, Putin drinks from it. So he drinks some mugs just like that one. And they're amazing mugs, as we can vouch.
All right, everybody subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell as well, and you can donate to us on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribe Star. Also follow us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Alexander, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.